Welcome into the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Nice to have you along for the ride. My name is Mark Farzetta, and I come to you as a very disappointed Philadelphia male. I am very disappointed in what the Philadelphia Eagles did yesterday. Perhaps looking back on my prediction Friday, 42-13 is what I finally settled on ahead of this game. And then we got the news about Jalen Carter. And then we got the news about Darius Slay. And then we got the news about Sauce Gardner and, all that stuff. And then my prediction, my prediction changed to? My prediction changed to 42-13. I didn't give a damn. I thought the Eagles were going. Yeah, my mind is on the Phillies. I thought the Eagles were going to go up there in New York, in North Jersey, and against the New York Jets, still dominate this football game. I didn't care. Thought the Eagles were good enough. Thought the Eagles were just more talented than the New York Jets. And you know what they did? They went out there and they laid an egg. If I could pick out one word in the entire English language to describe the way the Philadelphia Eagles offense, I'll say game planned as well as played and executed. I'm going to go ahead and pick this word out of the English language, and I think you agree with me that this is the exact perfect word to describe the way the Eagles offense played yesterday. Ready for this? Ready? Ass. Thank you very much. Ass. Straight ass. That's the way the Philadelphia Eagles offense performed yesterday. 4 turnovers. Horrendous play calling. From what I could tell, a horrendous game plan also. And terrible, god-awful, no-good quarterback play, especially in the fourth quarter by Jalen Hurts. Now, I understand people get super sensitive when you talk about a quarterback. I remember, what was that one guy's name that played here? I remember criticizing that guy. People were like, and I'm like, well, you criticize the quarterback. That's what you do with the quarterback. You criticize the quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, it's okay to criticize Jalen Hurts in this loss because DeAndre Swift's fumble, Dallas Goedert allowing that ball to be punched out before he could secure it, so it was then intercepted. It was then credited as an interception, or I should say debited as an interception there to Jalen Hurts. All throughout this game, mistakes. So many mistakes. A missed field goal even happened. Not that ended up really having a huge impact on the game, but they get that happening right there. Everything, especially in that second half, went horribly wrong for the Eagles. Their 90-yard, 19-play drive, that almost didn't end right. They barely got that touchdown. By a centimeter, Jalen Hurts crossed the plane before it was taken out of his hands by Olamide Zaccheaus in the end zone. So many different things went horrible throughout this game. It's okay to criticize your quarterback. It's okay to say that Jalen Hurts had a awful fourth quarter and did not play extremely well throughout the game. He had plays. I even tweeted this out at the end of the third quarter. I went, wow, oh my goodness. I have seen Jalen Hurts have some of the most incredible plays I've ever seen a quarterback make. He's stiff-arming one guy and throwing the ball for a completion he's stiff-arming with his left arm, and he's throwing a completion for a first down with his right arm. The strength he has is incredible. He escapes one play, goes into his own end zone, comes out, hits Kenny Gainwell in the breadbasket. He drops it. What would have been a first down? On a third down, by the way. And he goes in and he also makes throws down the field to A.J. Brown, down the sideline. A.J. Brown corrals it. Like, there are different plays. That happened in the fourth quarter. But there are different plays throughout this game that I'm like, wow, Jalen Hurts is amazing. Still not having a great game, but he's having incredible plays. And I'm like, it's 14-12. How is it that I've seen Jalen Hurts make some of these spectacular plays, and it's only 14-12? That's the lead the Eagles have, a 2-point lead? This ain't right. And then literally fourth quarter starts, throws a second interception of the game. And that was the one where he's being hit, and he lofted it up there, and it gets intercepted. But the defense did a great job throughout this game and just holding until they actually allowed a touchdown, like literally allowed it. Like I said, yes, right this way, sir. The defense played great. They were just holding them to field goals throughout the entire time until they just said, yes, right this way, red carpet to the end zone. But it's okay to criticize your quarterback and still love that quarterback and still think that quarterback is going to be a perennial MVP candidate. Maybe not this year, now that he has already thrown more interceptions this year than he had in all of last year. And he is right now only 2 interceptions shy of throwing the most interceptions he's ever thrown in his career in a single season. So that's where we're at right now, okay? That doesn't feel good. It's okay to acknowledge that. I still think Jalen Hurts is the guy. And I can't believe that the guy loses his second regular season game since becoming the full-time starter. I can't believe the amount of people that are, like yesterday, hey, you know what? Yesterday, congratulations to all the, I think, I want to say loud minority, all right? The loud minority of Eagles fans that are Hurts haters, that are Hurts doubters. Congratulations on your big win yesterday. I've been telling you, you don't give that much money to a running back. And I was a running back. I was a running back now. Really? So, yes, this show is going to have its fair share of criticism of Jalen Hurts. It's going to have its fair share of criticism of Nick Sirianni. It's going to have its fair share of criticism with Brian Johnson. And keep in mind this. Brian Johnson is calling the plays. Nick Sirianni is establishing the game plan. And from that game plan, Brian Johnson says, here's the plays we're going to call on game day. Yes, of course, I would assume Nick Sirianni has some input on game day. The fourth down situations, 4th and goal from the 1 situation, stuff like that. What do you want to do? Head coach makes the decision. Okay. So I don't doubt that even a little bit, but make no mistake about it. From everyone I have talked to, because I assume that maybe aside from just game plan, Nick Sirianni has his hands on the game, the play calling more so than what is led on. But nope, it's all going to one man, Brian Johnson. With the exception of the 4th and short, whatever, and all that stuff. So I put a lot of the onus here on Nick Sirianni because when you talk about the game plan, I understand that you were having 4 defensive backs down. I understand Sauce Gardner, you find out on Saturday that he was. Nick Sirianni said they found out on Saturday that he wasn't going to be going. You want to exploit the passing game. You want to exploit their pass defense for being, not having that many guys available to them, for missing key players in their secondary. You want to exploit that. But 45 throws, 45 throws for your quarterback. 45 for Jalen Hurts. Seems a tad bit much. All right? I mean, I can remember a game where Carson Wentz threw like 63 times against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. And I remember after that game, the players and Doug Peterson questioned his players' heart. His players came out and questioned the play calling. They all had a heart-to-heart. Next thing you know, they won a Super Bowl. So, you know what? There was a little silver lining there, okay? But when I look at this team and I look at Jalen Hurts and I look at this particular team and what they do extremely well, what do they do extremely well? They run the football. And in the 4th quarter, when you had that lead, you continued to rely on throwing the football. When you had a 3rd and 9 situation, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a spoiler of all the things that rubbed me horribly wrong about this game, the worst thing, and I'm not going to lump them all, 4 turnovers is the worst. Yes, 4 turnovers is the worst thing. But in one particular thing, there was one decision that was horrendous. And that was the Eagles' decision to throw the ball in the 3rd and 19 when you have the lead under the 2-minute warning, and you have Jalen Hurts trying to scramble out of the pocket, and he throws the worst decision, worst throw I've ever seen him make. And what sucks about this is that this is the second time I have said that. Against the Vikings, when he threw that ball over the middle and there was no one in the vicinity of where that ball was, that was the worst throw I had ever seen from Jalen Hurts and decision made by Jalen Hurts until I saw the throw and decision he made yesterday against the New York Jets. So there's a new low for Jalen Hurts as far as the most atrocious throw I've ever seen him make and decision. He got away with making a mistake against the Commanders by throwing the ball downfield to A.J. Brown for the touchdown. Now, yes, everything that happened after that was not planned for. A.J. Brown, for instance, getting the penalty, giving him an 11-yard gain, essentially, on the ensuing kickoff and all that. But still, the decision, the right play to solidify the victory is to just continue to bleed the clock against the Commanders. The right play here against the New York Jets is for Jalen Hurts to not scramble and try to make that play, even if the pass play is called. It still falls on Jalen Hurts' shoulder to realize that there was nothing there. Don't force it, as he had forced and gotten away with a couple other throws throughout the game. Don't force it and give them an opportunity to get the ball back deep in territory and then be able to march right in for a touchdown. And what does he do? he decides to throw the football. And it goes back, and they eventually get the touchdown for the game-winning score. That is unacceptable. If there is one thing I could go back and change about yesterday's game, it would be that play, that decision. It would be the play call. It would be the decision by Jalen Hurts to let it rip. And it would be absolutely without question that particular play. The 3rd and 9 in the fourth quarter is what this all boils down to. Yes, there are mistakes along the way. But I have seen Jalen Hurts in his career say, you know what? The hell with it all. Everyone get on my back. We're going down the field. We're going to get a score. We're going down the field. We're going to bleed this clock out. We're going to win this game. Last year, you saw it against the Indianapolis Colts. 17-16 was the final score of that game. Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter said, you know what? Screw it all. Get on my back. We're going. Started out that fourth quarter in Indianapolis by throwing a touchdown pass to Quez Watkins, of all people. And then they come back. They get a fumble from A.J. Brown in that game, of all people. And then they get the ball back one more time where Jalen Hurts, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders marched down. A.J. Brown had a reception on that drive as well. And they marched down the field and they were able to get the game-winning field goal. I was expecting and waiting for that to happen with Jalen Hurts yesterday. I kept on waiting for the moment where they were going to put this team away. And time again, they shot themselves in the foot. It all came down to that final possession. Second to last possession, as it would turn out. And you have an opportunity to put the team away with under 2 minutes. And you throw an interception. Eat it. Make them take a timeout. Make them bleed make a decision. Maybe you wind the clock down even further. You punt it away. Your defense had been dominating their offense. It just doesn't make any sense. It was stupid football by so many different people yesterday. But on that 3rd and 9 play, when you talk about one play in particular, you can go back and change. That's the most glaring one because it all boils down to that moment. You make the right read in that moment, everything else goes away. Oh, my God, we won the game with only 3 turnovers? This is incredible. How do we do that? Well, it was the Jets. And the red carpet was – talk about red carpet. It was rolled right out there yesterday to be the last undefeated team in the NFL, the only team that would have been 6-0. 49ers, of course, go down yesterday. Giants put up one hell of a fight against the Bills. The Commanders won again yesterday. It was an awful, awful time to drop this game. And I really did think that the Eagles were going to go out there and just dominate. I thought they were going to go out there and absolutely dominate. Go up there in North Jersey, and that wasn't the case. I thought this team was above losing a game like this to the Jets. Nobody was safe yesterday. Nobody was safe. The other things that you go back on when you look at this game, Goddard, as I mentioned earlier, talking about the big mistakes. Goddard gets the ball punched out for the first interception of the game. That was in the second quarter. Swift had the fumble at the 42-yard line of the Jets. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to go down there and at least get a field goal on that play, but Swift ends up fumbling. Devontae Smith, the first drop he had, the throw was a little high, and I try to be really fair with the drops, quote-unquote, but he got his fingertips on it. I thought he'd be able to corral it. He did it. Technically, that's a drop. The other one is the 1st and 15 at the start of the third quarter. That's the worst drop I've ever seen. That's the worst drop I've ever seen from Devontae Smith. The worst drop I've ever seen from Devontae Smith. Wide open, nobody around him. It's a 1st and 15. They're playing like prevent defense all of a sudden. And he's got another 10 yards in front of him if he makes that catch. Forget about the first out. He got like a 20-yard gain there, 25-yard gain. And he just dropped it. It went right through his hands. Led perfectly, went out, just right through his hands. I was like, is that Devontae Smith? Who put on Devontae Smith's jersey? Because that's not Devontae Smith. That was a horrible mistake. Hurts second pick, hit as he throws, lofted it up in the air, intercepted. Obviously, you can talk about Lane Johnson not being in this game for the vast majority of it. Jack Driscoll got a lot of reps in this game. And then the third pick was just absolutely egregious and unforgivable. Unforgivable. And just stick with me here for a second here. When you're arguing about this game or you're having a conversation about this game with your friends and your family and your fellow Eagles fans, maybe people at the office, all that stuff, and you bring up the idea or somebody brings up the idea of, well, Jalen Hurts can't make that throw. Just acknowledge, yes, that is a correct statement. That isn't even an opinion. That is a statement of fact. And don't do DeAndre Swift fumbled. What happened to Dallas Goedert not being able to screw that football? And the play calling was terrible. Yeah, that's true. But when someone is talking about one specific thing, let's keep it about one specific thing. There was a huge argument after yesterday's game on the postgame show between Mike Missinelli, Derek Gunn, and Seth Joyner. And the way that we work the postgame show is Mike leads it off with Seth and Gunner, and then I come in the second segment. So I came in, the world had already been lit on fire. There was an argument. Seth and Gunner had the argument of, well, this happens in the NFL. This is the way things go down. And then Mike had the argument. He was like, well, what do you mean this is what happens? Yes, this is what happens, but how does it happen to the Jets? Like, I can understand if they go out this weekend and Sunday night against the Sunday night football, prime time, and they have a bad game against the Miami Dolphins, a team that can put teams away, a team that can blow teams away. I understand that. But to the Jets, you play down this team that's supposed to be, and this was also my argument, a team that is so terrible, and a team that is supposed to be, in the Philadelphia Eagles, so mentally tough, so laser focused, have this great leadership, and they drop this game to the Jets. I don't like believing in trap games, and I always leave that up to the guys that actually play the game, and I don't believe in letdown games and all that stuff. I leave that up to the guys that actually win. And if, you look at the schedule, I see that as a letdown game. And then they win. It's like, well, it's still a letdown game and they won. I wasn't let down afterwards, so maybe you're just wrong. But, oh, my God, this game checks every one of those boxes. This game checks every single one of those boxes. The fact that you couldn't get DeAndre Swift going, they tried everything with him as far as catching the ball out of the backfield. They try to put the ball in his hands. But to not see him more in the fourth quarter was very disappointing. Nick Sirianni, after the game, used the dreaded phrase, put better players in better position. But I can't get over a team that I am so confident on because of their approach. Like, this team is extremely talented, but there have been extremely talented teams in the NFL before, but they lose focus. This team, what I credit them with the most is they have the leadership that helps them stay focused no matter what. And yesterday, between the coaching, between the execution, and the quarterback play, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there, especially in that fourth quarter. And I'm certainly not jumping off any bandwagon here, and I'm not jumping off the ship, and I'm not saying, well, this is what Jalen Hurts is now. Carson Wentz 2.0. No, that's, oh, man, that is the hot take stuff that I know some people are going to start doling out today, but not me, man. I'm still with this team. I'm still with Jalen Hurts, but I can acknowledge that was a god-awful football game. And when you don't play well, you're ready for the criticism, especially if you play down to an opponent like the New York Jets. Yes, there's part of it. Sure. The New York Jets took advantage of their opportunities. The New York Jets got paid too, blah, 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 blah. But I don't give a damn about that. Everyone knows. Yeah, the other team got paid. It wasn't a charity work. It wasn't charity work. It was charitable if the Eagles give the football away so many times. They're very giving people. But you can't not look and focus on how bad the Eagles played when we know they're a better football team than what we saw. So go to this argument in the postgame show about, this stuff happens. The 49ers lost to the Browns with my man P.J. Walker, Philip Walker, Temple Owl, playing quarterback for the Browns. Yes, things like this do happen, but that doesn't mean I got to like it. That doesn't mean I just go, yeah, this shit happens. Parity in the league. No, I can't do that. I don't have that gene, unfortunately. I believe in criticism. I believe in acknowledging BS when I see it. And one thing that was the scariest thing that hardly got talked about yesterday, I don't like reading body language, and I don't like assuming what a player's thinking, but I can just tell you what I saw, what it looked like to me. And Jalen Hurts, after that third interception, sitting on the bench, was the first time I've ever seen Jalen Hurts look mentally defeated. I joke all the time when Devin Caney and I were doing the postgame show with Gunner a couple years ago. We would always talk about how Jalen Hurts is on mental steroids. Like, his mind is just stronger than everybody else, more resilient than anybody else, And that was the thing. I was like, you know what? If this guy's going to go into the offseason and improve and be something special, it's going to be because of his mental makeup. Yesterday, he looked dejected. And I understand, disappointed, upset with himself for the decision and the play made. I understand all of that, but sitting there on the sideline, when he was going to get the ball back with a lot of time left on the clock, about a minute 46 left in the game, he's going to get the ball back, and they can't get, with 2 timeouts, he's not going to get anything going? They scored in 32 seconds against the Rams last week, and this is the game against the Jets. You just, well, we're not going to get anything anyway. First throw is he overthrows A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown loses his mind. Turns around, looks at Jalen Hurts. What the hell, bro? That's what I assume he said. It's really hard to wrap your head around yesterday's game. And yes, we've seen clunkers before. Even before the game, I was talking about how this team, barring they shoot themselves in the foot, they're going to win this game handily. And, well, what do you know? They got a Tommy gun out and started all over their own feet. Game plan, execution, quarterback play overall, which obviously is a huge hand in execution as well. That's all what happened yesterday. Not exactly what I was expecting from this Eagles team. Let's get into some of the things that they had to say after this game yesterday. And this is, let's hear first from Nick Sirianni. This is what he told the team after the game. Turns out, what did Nick Sirianni say? Nothing. What did he say to the team? Nothing. Message to the team? Here's Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I didn't have to say much. Our guys, in fact, I didn't say anything. Our guys, as soon as we got in there, they talked. A lot of different guys said different things. That's what you want out of your team. I thought that part was a big positive, because they're holding each other accountable. They're holding themselves accountable. I'm holding myself accountable. And so didn't really have to say anything. The leaders on the football team did.
Great. I'm glad that leaders on the football team spoke. I'm glad the leaders on the football team addressed it, and I'm glad the leaders on the football team took accountability. From what I heard from John McMullen after the game was that Jalen Hurts, when he addressed the team, he took full responsibility for the loss. And I know that's something that we always hear from coaches, but when a player says it, that's agreeing with the fan base. Quarterbacks get too much credit, too much blame. Well, Jalen Hurts had the ball in his hands at the end of that game to seal the win. 14-12. Ball was in his hands. And he made the worst possible decision or the worst possible throw he could have made and handed the win to the New York Jets. Yes, everything else that happened in the game prior to that factored into that one moment, sure. But what at least a lot of people say about the quarterback play of any team is that a quarterback has the power to ultimately be the great deodorant to a stinky ass game. And that's what yesterday was. And Jalen Hurts had the ball in his hands. 2 minutes left in the game. You're down 2 points. Or excuse me, you're up 2 points, 14-12. He had the ability to get a first down. He had the ability to either not throw that ball, take a sack even, scramble a little bit more, try to buy a little bit more time maybe, escape the pocket like you've been doing all live long day. And maybe you let them burn their timeout. You let them wind the clock down. If that's what they decide to do, they probably wind it down. And then you punt the football away. And you say, all right, defense, go win this one for us. That would have been a better decision. Speaking of which, better decisions and mistakes, here is Nick Sirianni on the mistakes made yesterday, as well as what happened on that 3rd and 9 play.
Yeah, we 4 times, -4. Y'all can look at the stats on that, but I don't know if you win many games when you're -4 on those.
Any thought to run the ball there on 3rd and 9?
We thought that if we got the first down there in that particular case, the game was over. The worst thing that could happen happened. Sure, every time you're gonna think about it. I don't think in that particular case we thought running it was the right thing. Then we had a 3rd down earlier in that drive that we converted on in similar circumstances. We're gonna trust our guys to make plays. I think AJ had a pretty good game, and we're gonna trust our guys to make plays in that particular case. And looking at it, again, we'll have to put them in better spots to succeed, and then we got to execute.
Yeah, that would be nice to put better spots to succeed and execute. And here's the thing. I always have a problem with the execution argument because If we execute, like, okay, fine. Call a fake punt every play. You don't complete the pass, whatever. You don't get the first down. Well, you didn't execute the blocking scheme. It's a dumb play call. That's my problem. Now, obviously, that's an extreme that we'll never see. But it's just to illustrate the point. Well, we didn't execute. Well, what if you did execute and it was just a stupid, dumbass game plan and a stupid, dumbass play call? What about that? What about that one? And I think there was a lot of that yesterday. The quarterback draws with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts checking down to quarterback draws, not giving the ball to DeAndre Swift, giving the ball to Kenny Gainwell out of nowhere. When the hell did that start? I understand that DeAndre Swift is going to be on some kind of, you want to make sure you're saving him. And in your second to last drive of the game, well, really third to last drive of the game, he did carry the ball 4 times. I think he had 8 plays. He carried it 4 times. And did not get any success out of that. And I'll tell you the exact moment that I thought the Eagles were actually going to walk away with this victory. This is the exact moment. A.J. Brown catches that ball down the sideline. 36-yard gain. They review it. It stands. And I thought, they got this. Here we go. Here's the put away. And then no put away. Oh, the Eagles are going to get him right here. And they didn't get him right there. I kept on waiting for that moment. Again, I kept on waiting for the moment that we had against the Colts last year. By the way, there's more significance to that Colts game than meets the eye, and we'll get into that in a minute. But as for right now, here's Jalen Hurts on taking us through that last pick.
Play and what happened?
Yeah, I think, I had an opportunity, and, I didn't do my job on the play. I don't think I made the correct read on it. But it happens. And it's an opportunity for us to learn from it and grow.
What happened?
I would love everyone to learn and grow, but you see, you've lost before. And what's really troubling is that loss against the Commanders last year, I remember, look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, when a quarterback doesn't play well, it certainly makes things a little bit easier to talk about because it's something that everyone can identify with, everyone understands for the most part, everyone gets. So you can criticize a quarterback, and it's very easy. But in that Washington game last year, I don't think I've ever watched a game where a team lost and continuously shot themselves in the foot, where I had no problem with what the quarterback did in that game. I had no problem with it. Quez Watkins has the catch downfield. Beautiful throw from Jalen Hurts, trying to rally everybody and get him downfield for a touchdown, and then the wide receiver fumbles it. Nothing there had anything to do with Jalen Hurts. This is one example. Completes a pass to Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert fumbles it, gets hit in the head, gets knocked out. No penalty. That had nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts played great in that game against Commanders, and the team sucked. This game, the offense as a whole was terrible. Jalen Hurts, especially in that fourth quarter, terrible. So last year, Commanders, the whole team was bad. Jalen Hurts played great. This game, defense was great. Offense was terrible. Quarterback was terrible. That's what's so troublesome about this one. This is the worst loss. It's the worst. There's been 2 of them. But this is the worst loss between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts that we have seen. Of the 2, this one's the worst. I did see people jumping to that yesterday. And I was like, well, there's only been 2. And this one, yes, was worse by far. So it's not exactly a big, it was a regular season. Of course, you lose the Super Bowl. I mean, people look at Jonathan Gannon before anything, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Super Bowl one kind of sucked. But this one, yeah, at least you had a 10-point lead. That was fun in the Super Bowl. That was at least good. And then you blew it in the second half, defensively speaking. But offensively speaking, yeah, this was terrible. This was god awful. This was the worst. So that was Jalen Hurts on that. Now, Lane Johnson, of course, as I mentioned earlier, was out in the early goings of this game, unfortunately. 9 snaps, I believe, is what he got in total. I'll go look at it, but Jack Driscoll had to play a lot of the game, so afterwards, Jalen Hurts was asked about the kind of impact that had on the Eagles and their game plan, as well as other problems that arose throughout this game.
For us, it's we pride ourselves in everybody being ready to step up when the opportunity's called, And you look at the guys that come in and have an opportunity to play, everybody has to be ready, one. Everybody's prepared to play, and everybody has to answer that phone when their phone rings. But, you know, you look at this game and you have so many missed opportunities and really so many mistakes as if you kind of giving it away, you know, and look at the last loss we've had in the regular season, I've had in the regular season against Washington last year, and just look at the turnovers. You know, you turn the ball over 4 times, you shouldn't expect to win. And so give a credit to them and how hard they played, and the tenacity and, you know, the resilience they played with. The Jets team played with great resilience, but I think, you know, we gave them too many opportunities. They did a great job of attacking the ball and turning the ball over, but those are things that we can control for us, so give a ton of credit to them.
Typically, everyone's great, blah, blah, blah. I understand why you would say that as a competitor. In total, it was 9 snaps for Lane Johnson. That means Jack Driscoll played 87% of the snaps. 61 snaps in total, 87% of the snaps yesterday. Not great, not ideal. In case anyone else is wondering, defensively, Nakobe Dean was back on the field. He played 49% of the snaps. Nicholas Morrow, 55% of the snaps yesterday. Zach Cunningham played 75% of the snaps. That's how your defensive, that's how your linebackers shook out there. Nakobe Dean in his return, not great. Not great. Looks slow to me. One of the things that we were hanging our hat on with optimism about Nakobe Dean going into the season is that the speed and quickness and instincts would make him a better linebacker, or at least as good a linebacker in his first year as a starter as TJ Edwards. That was not the case yesterday. Yes, coming back from a foot injury. Yes, fighting his way back into game shape. Yes, they activated the 21-day practice window this week, and then they ended up starting, or last week, and they ended up starting him for this week's game. It's a quick turnaround for Nakobe Dean. I did not expect much from him yesterday. But there was one play, I want to say it was in the second quarter, where Zach Wilson broke out of the pocket and busted to his left. And Nakobe Dean took a great angle on him, recognized what was going on, got off his route, and started pursuing the quarterback, realizing he was trying to run for the first down. Slow as hell, man. Making Zach Wilson look like an athlete. So that was a little worrisome. And here's the other thing. The Eagles defense, I say this, the Eagles defense was not the problem yesterday. The Eagles defense was not the problem yesterday. However, being -4 in the turnover battle is obviously a huge problem. Jalen Carter playing on the interior of this defensive line, I'm not saying that, he plays there, he guarantees that you force a turnover at some point, but I think it certainly helps your odds. Eagles were waiting. I kept on waiting for that one moment where the Eagles defense was going to force a turnover and turn the tide of the game and be even more of the savior that they were throughout that game. I think it was Dave Zingaro, NBC Sports Philly, that asked the question after the game. So, Nick, what's it like to have your defense bail you out, then you guys come up small? He didn't word it like that, but he did use the phrase bail you out. They keep bailing you out like that. It's like, we know we lose as a team. You know, that kind of thing. And it was like, no, I was waiting for that. Can you officially bail this offense out? Can Reed blanket before he goes down with another rib injury? Can he pick a pass off, take it to the house? Can James Bradbury step up and take it to the house? Can Zach Cunningham? Can Nicholas Morrow? Can Fletcher Cox force a fumble that gets scooped up by Brady Graham and he runs it in for a touchdown, or Josh Sweat or Hassan Reddick? Oh, my God, Hassan Reddick. Don't think I forgot about him, man. 2.5 sacks in this game. Yeah, I think it's fair to assume that the cast was a bit of an issue. Gets it off. He's got 5.5 sacks since then. Oh, yeah. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good when he's got 2 hands to use. But, yeah, this is lose to the New York Jets. This is the taste we're going to have in our mouths for a week? No thanks. No thanks. Now you got the Dolphins. I referenced earlier that Colts game has a lot more significance than just how Jalen Hurts has acted in the fourth quarter before in other games, and how Jalen Hurts has helped put the team on his back and taking them the distance, right? All that fun stuff. The Colts game, do you remember when that was last year? The Colts game was after their first loss of the season to the Commanders. That was their bounce back game. A 17-16 win over the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. Now, this game will be at home against the Miami Dolphins, so that's good. And it's on Sunday night, which is fine, which is nice. Prime time, under the lights, that whole thing, right? But they didn't come out firing. One of the other things that Jalen Hurts said after the game yesterday was, well, I'm pretty sure we're going to come out with a lot of intensity. We're going to attack this week with a lot of intensity. The word intensity, right, was used. I hope so, because it didn't look like that against the Colts last year when they were trying to rebound from your first loss of the season. A.J. Brown was quoted after the game saying, they were happy when they lost that game to the Commanders last year. They took one. I shouldn't say they're happy. But they took a major positive out of that game last year that they lost. We don't talk about being perfect anymore. We don't have to talk about that perfect record. We don't have to talk about being undefeated anymore. We can just go out there and play football. Hey, if that's what you need, by all means. I still rather this football team be 6-0 and take a first loss of the season to a team like the Dolphins than going up against the New York Jets and taking that loss. I certainly would take that above all else. I would certainly take that above all else. I want to get you guys that situation. I want to make sure I have that right for you. Yeah, that was the play. Yep. 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's still a 14-12 game. Eagles get the ball on their 18-yard line. On a 3rd and 6, Jalen Hurts puts it in the breadbasket of A.J. Brown for 36 yards. You're getting into field goal range here with Jake Elliott. You're at the 42 now. 1st and 10. Jalen Hurts scrambles for 11 yards. Gets you a first down, brings you up to the 31. Kenny Gainwell gets you 12 yards. Oh, they're cooking, baby. They're cooking. Then 1st and 10 for the 19. Jalen Hurts incomplete to Dallas Goedert. 2nd and 10. Jalen Hurts runs to the right end for 4 yards. Or should be left end for 4 yards. 3rd and 6. Hurts takes the sack. Dropped 4 yards. And then a 37-yard field goal. Jake Elliott misses it. That was the drive I thought the Eagles were going to put him away. Now, here's the catch. The Eagles' defense, again, holds the Jets to no points. They have to punt. The Eagles get the ball back with 4:43 left in that fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts is able to hit Devontae Smith for 2 yards. Smith goes up the middle for 9 yards. He gets them a first down. Then there's the pass over the middle. DeAndre Swift only gets him 3. Swift goes up the middle for no gain on the 2nd and 17. Philadelphia has the timeout there. I think they had an injury timeout there. And then the 3rd and 7, Hurts goes to Goddard with 2:32 left in the game. And they go for 11 yards right there. So they get that first down. You're thinking they're cooking, they're moving the football, all's going to be right with the world. Kenny Gainwell gets a run on the 1st and 10, bleeds the clock down to 2:20. DeAndre Swift gets a run in there, bleeds the clock down to the 2-minute warning. And then 3rd and 9, 2 minutes left. Jalen Hurts drops back and makes the worst decision I've seen him ever make. The A.J. Brown touchdown against the Commanders that I pointed out, at least he knew he had the touchdown. So I'm like, he knows he's getting 7 here. All right, fine. You think your defense can hold the Commanders and Sam Howell. This play, there's no excuse. You weren't getting anything out of this. Nick Sirianni said it best after the game. The worst thing happened. The worst thing happened. You threw an interception. Can't do that. Incompletion stops the clock. That's still bad. Interception in that regard gets returned 45 yards. Landon Dickerson ends up having to make the tackle. Good hustle, Landon Dickerson. And the Jets red carpet for Breece Hall's touchdown to take the lead, 20-14. What really gets me is the fact that the Eagles scored in 32 seconds against the Rams. And sure, they had at the end of the first half against the Rams. And sure, they had timeouts. And sure, they had 2 big penalties there. But anything can happen. And you get the ball back with a minute 46. And I'm thinking to myself, they still got a chance here. They still got a chance. 2 timeouts, they still got a chance. Hurts misses A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown loses his mind for a second. Hurts can't hit Devontae Smith. Hurts is able to hit Devontae Smith for the 3rd and 10 play for only 2 yards, throwing well short of the marker. And then the 4th down play, Hurts incomplete, way deep down the middle of the field to Devontae Smith, who also wanted pass interference on that play. So many mistakes in this game. I look forward to flushing this game, as Jalen Hurts has said in the past. Watch the tape, then go flush it. Still can't believe they lost this game. Let's move on to a lighter topic. Let's move on to a better topic. Let's move on to a more fun topic, shall we? Let's shall. The Philadelphia Phillies, ladies and gentlemen, they start their NLCS against the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. 8:07 start time. Don't forget, right here on the JAKIB Media channel, I'll be with you guys for Fightin's postgame, so don't miss that. Brought to you by friends at Colony Pools and Power Washing. But as for right now, this Farzy Show is brought to you by MyBookie. Check out MyBookie. When your money's on the line, choose a trusted sports book that gives you tools to win, like MyBookie does. At MyBookie, it doesn't matter if your team is up or down. You can easily cash out or bet on the game live to come out on the winning side. Use MyBookie for daily odds boosts, same-game parlays, and take advantage of huge prize pool contests. Plus, MyBookie has a no-strings-attached cash bonus. So let's make sure you deposit. It allows you to deposit and withdraw quick. And you can use promo code Farzy. Use promo code Farzy on your first deposit and receive up to $200 in cash. That's promo code Farzy to claim your own cash bonus right now. Try MyBookie Money Bag to grab a potential Super Bowl frontrunner as long shots, plus 38,000. Huh? 38,000 plus 38,000 for an Eagles-Chiefs big game. You won't find odds like that anywhere else. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only at MyBookie. That's mybookie.ag. Check out things. MyBookie, use promo code Farzy. Before I get to the chat check, I do want to mention the Phillies here. Yes, 8:07 start time tonight. Zach Wheeler goes against Zach Allen. The battle of the Zacks. Zach attack. I had a really dumb thought on my way home from Atlantic City yesterday. I had a really dumb thought, and I just want to share it with you right now. It's for levity. Are you guys a fan of the show Saved by the Bell? Were you guys Saved by the Bell, guys? Jim, do you know Saved by the Bell? You're aware of the prowess of the Saved by the Bell? Okay. They had a really weird episode. This is the dumbest thing I've ever said into a microphone. They had a really weird episode. Zack Attack was the name of the band. Friends forever. And it was out of nowhere. Like, they didn't have a band on the show ever. And then there was this one episode where all of a sudden they were in a band. These high school kids all of a sudden were in a band. No one ever knew they even played instruments. And Zack Attack was the name of the band. Well, this game one is a Zack Attack. Isn't that stupid? That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. I bet it's a horrible segue. Just because you have two guys named Zach Pittman. But anyway, I needed some levity. So I needed to go back to my childhood and reference Saved by the Bell. Friends forever. And then Zach got too big. Wanted to break off into his own solo career. So I tell you all that to tell you this. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phillies tonight, 8:07. Zach Wheeler has faced the Arizona Diamondbacks twice this season. In his first start back on May 22nd, went 6 innings, allowing 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 8 hits in that ball game, going 6 innings. It was a 6-3 loss. He also gave up 2 home runs in that one. Only struck out 3. What the hell, Zach Wheeler? Then he went ahead and faced them again about a month later in June, and that was the 15-3 Phillies stomping of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Wheeler started that game going 6 innings, allowing 1 run. It was earned on 4 hits with 7 strikeouts. That was his 5th win of the season. As for Zach Gallen, he has faced the Phillies just once this year. 5 2/3 back on May 24th. He allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, did not give up a home run. That game was actually won by the Phillies in 10 innings. So that's the backstory of what's going on here with the Phillies. Phillies won the season series 4-3 against the Diamondbacks this year. I think it's going to be another low-scoring game today for the Phils. You are facing 2 great pitchers on the hill tonight. We know the numbers there for Zach Wheeler, but as far as Zach Gallen goes on the season, you're talking about a 17-win season for Zach Gallen. That used to not mean a lot. It certainly means a lot right now. 17 wins, and in the postseason, he's had 2 starts. He's won them both. He's got a 3.18 ERA over those 2 starts, 17-9 on the regular season with a 3.47 ERA, which is actually not great for Zach Gallen. But he's coming into this game with that going on there. Kid out of Summerdale, New Jersey, as I think most of you guys know by now. In his last 2 starts, he's gone at least 5 1/3, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits, and each of them, both runs were earned. And that's what he has done in the postseason to this point. He got the win against the Brewers in the wild card round, and then he got the win against the Dodgers 4-2 in the divisional round. So he has done his work. Look, the number one guy you're watching out for is Corbin Carroll. When you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks and what they brought to the table, Corbin Carroll is the guy that everyone's looking at, and rightfully so. He has been an absolute monster in the regular season, been an absolute monster in the postseason. Sitting 4-12 to this point through 5 games, and quite a few guys are putting it together rather well. Tommy Pham, their trade deadline acquisition for the Mets, from the Mets, is a guy that I wanted the Phillies to look after as well. They decided to not go that direction, but they have guys that are just mashing the baseball right now. So far, and this is just the postseason. 4 players with at least 2 home runs in their lineup. Marte has been able to do that for them. Alec Thomas, their center fielder, has been able to do that for them. Corbin Carroll is one of them. And then Gabriel Moreno, their catcher, has 3 home runs and leads the team with 6 runs batted in to this point. So they are certainly getting it done as far as their offense goes. And there's no better example than this right here, especially having that when they're just teeing off against Lance Lynn as well. Whew, that was scary. So that's your NLCS game 1 tonight. I'll be with you guys for post game. Let's get into the chat check and see how you beautiful people are doing on this fine morning, despite the fact that the Eagles lost their first game of the season. Going to start it over on JAKIB Media. Eagles lost to Zach Wilson. Thank you, Dank. Okay. None of that is helpful, but thank you. Babs, Astros look pretty bad to me. They do look pretty bad. Babs, I agree. When the Fanatic nods twice, it's a fastball. Thank you, GC. Moreno, Martel, Carroll. Yep, they're all very good. They're just great. Kelsey is a veteran leader? What? Lori doing the game plan, says Daz. That's funny. So predictable. Vegas wins again. Womp, womp. 45 passes, 14 run plays by running backs. Yes, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the game plan being god-awful, Robert. Thank you. Howie better be on the phone today. Brian Johnson got pass happy. Burr says that. Yes, I agree. We are about to get our butts kicked. I have a bad feeling about this game. I want to be so optimistic, but I am not optimistic about this game right out of the gate here when it comes to whoever the hell they're playing, the Dolphins. Sirianni is a puppet. Womp womp. Miami good for 50 this week. Well, the defense is depleted, so you got to hope that Darius Slay comes back. You got to hope Jalen Carter comes back. No hope for Driscoll in blocking. They didn't do anything to help him out there. You're right, says GC. No longer running RPOs. You might see a couple RPOs here against the Miami Dolphins. Robert M., after all those turnovers, still had a chance to win the game, and nothing. Robert M., I believe I pronounced that exactly as you wanted me to. All Wentz fanboys who hate Jalen have been waiting for him to have this bad game so they could crawl out of their hole. I don't know if there are any more Hurts lovers out or Wentz lovers out there. Steve, who is Wentz? I love that. Steichen fixed Hurts. We went right away from it. Steichen actually had Richardson looking decent. All right. Yeah, it was a rough one. Yeah, I think this comes down to Brian Johnson. It comes down to, yes, this is where I will agree. Execution by Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has left a lot to be desired so far this season. Jump over to the Farzy Show. What's going on over here, everybody? Let's see what you guys are up to. This is the Farzy Show YouTube channel now. Sean Gillespie, horrible coaching and play by Brian Johnson and Hurts. I agree. Marquise Graham. Marquise. I'll say poop. He's got 3 poop emojis there. Eagles throw 45, ran 22. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Devontae Smith, shake my damn head. Shine, I agree. Marquise, AJ was the only player. How about AJ Brown? One of only 5 receivers now to go. Pretty wild. That's pretty great. Marquise, hello. April. Good morning, April. Seeing all you guys here. Mike Fuji, what's up? Let's shoot. What's up? Brian Johnson is trash. This year, Jalen is what I expected last season. Wow, let's look at that. That's interesting. Mihai Sanchez, hopefully a trap game. I hope so, too. April, Jalen looks off. Not sure what it is. I think it's the play calling. I think he's got to get on the same page with his play caller, and his play caller's got to get on the same page with him. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say the Phillies jump out to a what? Oh, let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Don't forget about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I think the Phillies jump out to a series lead of 1-0 tonight. I'm going to go with a score of 4-2. Phillies get the victory. Thanks for watching. Jim Hyder produced the program. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Be back with you guys tonight for Fighting's postgame, then back tomorrow for the Farzy Show, as per usual. See you guys then. Bye.